Maybe you've had that at some point as well, that you had a realization, you knew something had to change, you implemented something for 3 days, and then it went all back as it was before. So that is something that is very common, especially with maybe drinking. Oh my God, the last weekend was so intense. It was really bad how drunk I was. I'm gonna stop. Next weekend, same thing over again. And similar it is now with social media, with screen time, that it is so obvious that something needs to change. And probably you've done that before as well, that you have had the determination, now I'm going to change something. And well, you're still here watching this video or listening to this audio. That means something still needs to change. And so in this session today, we will look at what motivates us, what gets us really into the state of change, and how to prolong that in the future. Welcome back to this 5-part series to reduce your screen time, take back control over your life. I'm Julian, coach and psychologist, and I'm stoked to guide you through these 5 parts that help me tremendously to gain back control of where I spend my time and the ability to actually freely choose what I want to do, rather than spending time on the phone and not even either being aware of it or not wanting it. Today is all about motivation and how to sustain the change that we have committed to. Let's go right into it. Okay, let's start with my motivation to change. One of the significant events in my life were when I was in Peru. I was in the most beautiful setting with having complete mountains surrounding me, having a beautiful garden, and being there at a perfect temperature. We had everything we needed to be there, going out for hikes, for walks. Everything was amazing in the Sacred Valley in Peru, near Cusco. However, I spent so much time being on my phone, just spending time scrolling, no real purpose with it. And I didn't know how to stop it. And so there was one day where I was so tired, I think I couldn't sleep properly, and I was just in the evening, and the best thing I could think of was, let's grab my phone so I can eventually fall asleep again. And there I was until I think 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning, just watching YouTube videos which were about people using dumb phones and people being able to get off social media. So basically finding ways, searching for things to get off social media or the phone, and doing that until 4 a.m. because I couldn't sleep and wanting to get off them. The irony in it was so striking to me that the next day I was like, this has to change. This can't go on. This is so ridiculous right now. And so that was the starting point where I actually made drastic changes, and I could slowly integrate and start figuring out ways to motivate myself. And those ways I'm going to teach you in this lesson today. Okay, when I made that shift, I went pretty extreme, pretty drastic. You don't need to necessarily, but you need to do the following steps that I learned out of that, which is actually putting right in front of me, understanding what are the negative consequences that are happening with this behavior, with this habit. Really seeing it, really looking at it. What are the negatives that are happening with this? For me, it was very obvious. I was not really focused. My mind was all the time a little bit clouded. I couldn't think properly. I couldn't be really present with the people that were actually close to me and in physical closeness, right? I wasn't present. I wasn't with them really because I was maybe checking my phone or being distracted a little bit. All of that I knew was part of that, or a consequence of this. As well as I drive a lot of satisfaction also from being helpful to other people, teaching them something or supporting them some way or the other. And with that, I knew I wasn't fully there. I couldn't think of ways to support. I couldn't figure out what other people needed in that scenario. And so for that reason, I was like, these are 3 major things that are really important to me. I want to change. And so I wrote them down, figuring out how to be more present, clear in my mind, and being supportive or of service to others. Really important to me. So these are really extreme negatives, including maybe also bad sleep or waking up in the morning a little bit groggy already, just because I started with the phone. All of these smaller habits all led up to my 3 major points that were really, really bad for my life. So I made myself really obvious what are the negatives in this lifestyle. And so now I want to give that to you as well. Think briefly about what are the negative consequences, like the really extreme one that really bug you with this behavior. And if you want, you can also pause this and actually journal about it, write it down, write it out, so you see it again right in front of you. So you can pause now to journal and go deeper, or let's continue and figure out the next parts. This realization was for me so big that I noticed I needed to go extreme. That was for me the case. And so I went on a 30-day journey to take charge, to take control over my habits again. And so I went for 30 days to completely take out any technology that is possible. So I had still to work online. So I had one-on-one sessions, I had to do invoices, all of that stuff that needed to be done. And I tried to do that in as little as time as possible on the devices. And my phone, which is obviously the biggest distraction, my phone needed to be turned off. I took out the SIM card, put it into an old iPhone 5S, and only used that, which was super slow, buggy, didn't even download most apps. But I had still Google Maps and my meditation app, which was the most important things there. And so I did that. I only used this buggy iPhone 5S for all of my tasks that were really necessary. And the other phone was turned off almost every day, completely 24 hours, which was incredible. And so here we go. That was my very extreme thing to go after, or to change right after that realization. And with that also came the positive changes that I was looking for, that I really wanted to. And so that's sort of the second part. We figured out all the negatives, the negative consequences with that. But now let's imagine what could happen if we would implement some positive changes. How would your life change if you actually went for those positives, the things that you want to create? So that's what we're going to look for now. Now we want to create a vision, an ideal future, something that you can look forward to, something that draws you in, and also gets you through those phases that might be difficult, that might be really tough on you, that you do not, where it's difficult to be in control of your habits, and where you might have let's say, a little going back to the old patterns. And so that's what we're going to look for now, creating that vision. How do you do that? So for first, what I said in the very beginning was also to get an understanding of what really sucked and what is it keeping you away from. Because all of these things were keeping me away from being connected with the people that I love, or that I didn't put as much effort in helping other people and supporting, which was a major thing. And I couldn't be fully present and enjoy life because I had this cloud in my mind. And I was in this most beautiful scenery, so it was really annoying that this was happening. So these were the things that this was holding me back from. And so I wanted to change that. It was big enough of a motivation for me. But that's still usually quite short term. I needed to remind myself somehow, keep an image, a vision of that in front of me, so I could go through those difficult times, even if I spent, again, 2-3 days on the phone and didn't notice. So then, as soon as I do notice, I remind myself back of that vision and get out of that state, because that is the most important. Whenever you get sucked into this, get out of this again. But how do you create vision for yourself? We want to dream. We want to let go a little bit of those things that are possible and those things that we think we might be able to do. And for now, just think about what would be the most amazing thing that you can think of. And then later we can figure out a plan to get there. But usually we don't even allow ourselves to dream and see if that is possible. Because usually before we're like, okay, probably this is not going to work because of these and these reasons. Then we're usually thinking very, very small. So what we want to do now is dream. Think of something big. Think of something perfect. And our imagination can always be perfect. It's not going to be in real life, but that's up for later. So for now, think about how great would it be if you did not have that urge to take up the phone. But even better, how amazing would it be if you don't even think about it because you're so involved and engaged in your life that there's no room for this. So you have doing these things that you want to do. You're doing these things that give you some fulfillment, some pleasure, some enjoyment. And you forget about that you have a phone or that you needed to do something there. How great would that be? And I'll think a bit further. What would you fill like a normal week with? What would be the activities, the memories, the experiences that you want a normal week for you to look like? Not some vacation, not something special, a normal week. Is it something, for me, I'm super curious, I want to learn things all the time. So for me, in the evening, for example, would be something where I want to read, where I want to talk about something in depth, where I want to maybe learn something. But all of that is outside of screens. Or even if I have a really good reason for that, because that's what I want to do. And so then think a bit further. What would be the starting of, let's say, let's just imagine a Tuesday in 3 months. If you imagine that Tuesday, how would like to get up? At what time? And I'll guide you through this day now so you can actually think it through. So what time would you like to get up? How would you like to feel when you get up? Just notice it in your body. Like, how would you like your body to feel like? Then when you think further, what are you going to do next? Do you have a morning routine? Do you meditate? Do you go immediately to work, to something fulfilling? Is there something that you can do to help another person? What is it? What is the thing that you like? What is the thing that inspires you, that sparks something in you? And then go further through the day towards lunch. What have you done until then? And then also the afternoon. What would you like to be engaged with? What would you like to interact with? And then towards the evening, how do you want to spend your evening? With your loved ones, learning something, relaxing, whatever it is. Going to events, concerts, comedy shows. Just think it through. What would be a great Tuesday? And once you have an image of this day, imagine you would move forward with this. The next days will be similar engaging, similar interesting. So don't even need the phone for anything like that or distract yourself. So once you have this, try to even close your eyes and imagine this. This will be possible now. Imagine that you could do this already, or at least make some changes in that direction. This is possible right now. Just imagine this. Just hold that image in front of you. Imagine how good you would feel. How fulfilled you would feel. Imagine the smile in your face would feel. And so all of this, try to put this into an image. Try to make it colorful even in your mind. Try to really see the people around you in those situations and images. And that is the starting point of your vision. You can go way, way deeper. But I think for the scope of this audio now, this should be enough just to get you started with how amazing it could be or could look like once you start doing this. And so that's what I want to give you today. This idea, this vision, this image, how great it can be if you design the world around you towards your liking, rather than that you let it dictate how you should behave or feel like, how it is doing it now with social media, your phone. To take these lessons with you, though, I just shared, it is the best thing if you take some time now to not either jump to the next podcast or to do something right away after this, but take some more time to let it sink in, to actually imagine how it would be and go through the negatives and the positives of this change. Take some time for yourself. If you want to dive deeper into this topic in general, I highly recommend my online course on Inside Timer, that you can go deeper even into the emotional states and imagine the different life areas that would change, and imagine how you would feel when those things are changing, and especially also mixed with some mindfulness exercises if you like that. If you think that this is a topic that you feel very drawn to and you've tried all of these tricks and techniques already, we can also work one-on-one together. So in the description below, there is a form that you can sign up and we can work one-on-one together. And lastly, make sure to send this episode to someone who might be in a rut right now, who might be in a downward spiral with their devices. I would love to help with this knowledge a lot more people. So if you find someone in your surroundings that could be helped by this, make sure to not hold back and share. Thank you so much for listening until the very end. Look forward to part 3. Here we talk about tools, hands-on tips and tricks to make it a lot easier for you to actually implement the change, to move forward with it, and to make significant changes for your day-to-day life, for your routines. So I'll share the practical tools that help me to stay now with it, but also in the beginning help me to stop this constant pull into the screens and into social media. Stay tuned for that, and then I look forward to see you next week.